Right, following the passing of Justice Antonin Scalia in February of 2016, the Washington Post was quick to point out that, quote, 1/3 of all U.S. presidents appointed a Supreme Court justice in an election year. And in fact, quote, 6 lame duck presidents appointed Supreme Court justices before their successors took office, though not since Benjamin Harrison in 1892. So let's get some perspective on that history from Victor Davis Hanson, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution and a history expert himself. Good to have you with us tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me, Shannon.
Okay, so we're seeing slightly different headlines this time around. One paper in particular I picked up this morning said, as the nation mourns, something to the effect, Trump vows to jam through the seat or fill the seat. The headlines are different this time around, but is the situation different?
Not really. I mean, there is really no such thing, is there, as a Biden rule or a McConnell interpretation of a Biden rule. Those are just euphemisms for political strategies that when a president of any party in an election year wants to make a nomination or can make a nomination, it just depends on whether he controls the Senate or not, and then people make the necessary adjustments. I think a lot of the acrimony, though, comes out of that very bizarre, surreal Kavanaugh hearing. And both parties came away with different lessons. I think the Democrats thought it emboldened their base and revved them up, and that's how they won the House. And the Republicans thought, you know, that repulsed America to such a degree that they actually picked up 2 Senate seats in an off year. And I think they're both ready to replay that again. But, you know, a lot of this anger is not historically based. I think it's anger among the Democrats themselves, almost a self-anger. Because you and I would be talking tonight, if we were even talking, we wouldn't be talking about this. We'd be talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg if just 3 things had happened. And that is, in 2013, Harry Reid blew up the filibuster on judicial nominees when he had a majority in the Senate. Had he not done that, this would be all theoretical. There would be no way in the world the Republicans could push this through. And, you know, in 2014, the Democrats lost the Senate after a pretty stunning re-election 2 years earlier by Barack Obama. Then they lost it again in 2016, and they even lost it in 2018 when the Republicans picked up 2 seats. Had they just won any of those 3, we wouldn't be here tonight. And finally, and I want to be very reverential to the memory of Justice Ginsburg, but it was typically a pattern in American jurisprudence that when a justice felt tired or wanted to retire or was in ill health or got at a particular age and they wanted an ideological replicant, they waited to the president of their particular party or ideology was in power, then they sort of timed their retirement. That's what David Souter, the Republican turned liberal, did with Barack Obama. That's what Sandra Day O'Connell did with Bush. That's what Anthony Kennedy did with Trump. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg was 81 and 82, and she was coming off some bouts of ill health, and she could have retired in 2013, as many people urged. In 2014, Obama had a majority in the Senate. He would have made a very rapid appointment. She would have been praised for her legacy, and we wouldn't even be here. I think she kept on because she felt that her health had improved, and Hillary Clinton was a sure winner in 2016, or maybe she could persist to 2020 or 24.
Yeah,
but
she had.
the final thought is, yeah, this is not the end of anything, because the Democrats have a very strange propensity that they're much more effective at flipping justices when they're on the court than they are stopping their confirmations. And by that I mean, in attrition going back to Earl Warren or William Brennan or John Paul Stevens or Harry Blackmun or David Souter, once a Republican conservative gets on that bench, maybe Justice Roberts confirms that in some ways. Maybe it's the oxygen of Washington or the cultural pressures of that city or that liberal culture, but they flip in a way that Justice Kagan, for example, or Justice Sotomayor will never vote conservative. Yeah. So this is not the end of it. It's going to go on. And unfortunately, these seats are seen as ideological billets.
Yeah, and you mentioned Justice Ginsburg, the calls for her to retire last time from the left, and she was very, firm about the fact that this was her life's work, her life's passion, and she didn't believe that somebody who would vote the way she did could actually get confirmed, and she was going to stay there as long as possible. She was very determined. As you said, she'd overcome a lot of health issues and probably felt like she could continue to fight because she had beaten the odds so many times. Victor Davis Hanson, thank you. Always good to have your perspective.
Thank you.